it wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair journey, and it wasn't fair from the get-go. I didn't go with my gut feel. I was desperate. I took the money, I gave away too much equity, I lost my company. It broke my heart, it broke my life. I was Amanda ... Who the fuck am I after pouring 4 years of my life and every single penny I had into this business.
No Bullshit Talks is a podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. There's too much bullshit out there, especially when it comes to business. This podcast aims to highlight what's true and what's not in the world of entrepreneurship, bringing you honest and raw conversations about the rollercoaster that is entrepreneurship. Each week, my guest will be a high-performing entrepreneur sharing the ups and downs of their journey and helping you prepare for the road ahead, while providing you with actionable insights and absolute gems of knowledge. Stay tuned as I introduce this week's guest. Amanda Baker is the founder of 5 Stories and the creator of the 5 Stories methodology. She inspires leaders all over the world how to tell their story and use it to promote their businesses. And yes, everyone has a story, even if you don't think you do. She is also a TEDx speaker and the new mum to the beautiful Lyra. I present to you Amanda Baker. Welcome, Amanda Baker, to the podcast. And I hesitated there because last time I spoke, you were Amanda Harrison. And usually that means you got married, but
I got divorced very quickly.
But you didn't. You divorced his name, eh?
I divorced his name, yeah.
Let's start with that. So, Amanda Baker, you married Ryan Harrison, became Amanda Harrison, and now you're back to Amanda Baker.
Yeah.
I think we should start there because that's hella confusing.
It is for people who are sort of like watching. Yeah. I mean, I just want
Not feeling it.
Not feeling it. That's it. Not feeling it. I think in life we do try things on, like whether it's clothes, whether it's names or men. Yeah. Something. Gosh, we could go there. I know for a fact my husband's going to be very hyped that you mentioned his name in this podcast.
Oh, and in the first minute,
hyped. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to hear the end of it. I was mentioned in your podcast. I'm like, all right, babe. You're not that famous, all right. But yes, it just didn't work for me. And then I went back to Baker. Yeah.
Well, welcome Amanda Baker to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here, but this is actually attempt number 3 of a Kitchens podcast.
Yeah, I mean, but we're here.
I mean,
that's not bad.
I might have to do a separate episode on that and how many times I failed setting up this podcast. So I'm so glad we're actually here having this conversation. And actually, I'm going to start having the conversation before, the battery runs out on the camera or some sort of ridiculous failure that happened last.
Fingers crossed that doesn't happen today. I feel like I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling. Yeah.
So you've been on a hell of a journey, and I feel like there was so many highs and lows, and that's what entrepreneurship is like, right? There were always highs and lows. I don't know what you see on social media, even if they just show the highs, there were always some lows. And you are at a really cool point of your career, but I want to hear about your journey and how you got here and what you think the kind of, the most pivotal moments of your journey are, and like what you think are the moments that brought you to where you are today.
Oh my goodness. That is a big question. That is a really big question. Thank you for asking it. Because I feel like I'm always the one asking the questions to my clients to unpack their stories. So it's very rarely that I get a chance to do this. So thank you. Wow. Yes, I have been on a big journey. I guess my journey as an entrepreneur started when I was really, really young. Just trying to figure out ways to make a little bit of money, but also to have fun and get people together. So I guess, we could start there, but I won't start there. I'll go back to where I was at uni and getting into this whole creative world of advertising. That's kind of what I was really curious about and what really kind of got me into this work that I do now around storytelling and helping people to connect with their story and tell it in 5 stories. But ultimately, I've always been a creative person. I've always been a person that, hey, I just want to do something meaningful. I want to do something that I feel personally connected to, that really matters to me, but something that's going to make a positive difference in the world, or at least on people's lives in some way, big or small. And I guess pivotal moments in my life, like I've got the personal moments, which I got stabbed in a nightclub and nearly lost my life, which was kind of like a realization of, oh my God, like we're not here for very long. We're so lucky to be here anyway. And of course, I survived that craziness, and that was a moment which made me think, wow, like, our lives are so precious and so important. What we choose to do with our life is the most important thing, and it's up to us to choose. My uncle committed suicide, and he was really close to me in my life, and that was something that was really pivotal for me, and a massive, I guess, moment where I really realised the meaning. We're all here to find meaning, and when we don't have meaning in our life, we're disconnected to each other and ourselves, and that has also led me to this work that I do with storytelling, because ultimately, what is a story? A story is how we connect with the meaning in our lives and in the world. So I feel very fortunate to be doing this work. That's like the real kind of deep stuff that changed me and moved me into a place, moved me towards where I am now. I really do deeply believe that. My granddad inspired me massively when I was growing up. Mum and dad divorced when I was pretty young. I was about 6 or 7. I can't really remember now because that was a very long time ago, and it feels like another life when you're that young, right? When I was literally going through like photo albums at my nan's the other day, and I love doing that. I find that's a really amazing way to like connect back to our roots, connect back to our origins. Go around, if you're lucky and fortunate enough to have your grandparents who are still here. I have a few, 3 nans actually that are still alive. I tell you what, the women in my family, they're fucking going strong. One of my grandmas, they're like 93 years old. I'm just like, what?
That's amazing.
Man, bonkered. But yeah, absolutely love them. We're around our house the other day and was just like looking through pictures, and it's just like, how like, I can't, like, how did that happen? It's just like looking through a film of your life at a time when you were younger. It's madness, but I think it's a really great way to connect with your roots and connect back to who you were and how you've become this version of yourself. And yeah, I guess, how I got here is many events, many choices, many decisions, many fuck-ups, many highs and lows and wiggly lines and wobbly bits. I've just always wanted to, do work that really, really makes a difference. And that was once working in the advertising industry, to actually, work on creating campaigns. How would that have made a difference, I guess? Because advertising is just getting people to buy things. It's adding to the whole commercial side of stuff. But I wanted to do things a little bit differently and work with businesses and brands that are purpose-driven and impact-driven. And that's what I ended up going into. I've had a couple of agencies, very fortunate to have a couple of agencies in London, branding agencies where the birth story of my methodology, 5 stories, that came about then when I was creating stories for brands who just had no idea who they were, what they stood for, and they would work with me and my company to help figure that out. And yeah, fast forward to now, I'm now sort of banging the drum for storytelling, not just for branding or marketing, it's actually for belonging and connection, because I really do believe that we need more of that in the world.
God, it sounds like a ridiculously difficult but powerful journey that you've been on. And actually, I want to talk about one of those agencies. I feel like, and these days, everyone seems to run their own agency, whatever that definition of agency is. That's another topic for another day. But I want to talk about running an agency, because you're the co-founder, right? And
I've had a few.
Yeah. And, there's always a discussion about whether it's better to have a co-founder, whether it's solo founder. Obviously, there's pros and cons for both of them. And I know you've had some interesting moments on your way. So I want to hear from you. Co-founder, no co-founder, what's your thoughts on it and what were your experiences?
Yeah, I think co-founder, no co-founder, I think there's like everything, there's pros and cons for everything, I think it's just about you knowing what you want and what you need. I think it's really as simple as that. I've had my first agency was a 4 co-founders, me included, so I was one of them. It was all gravy. It was all good for a little while. But what happened? It's not. Yeah, like my first business that was an app that would let people borrow, lend, and swap clothes, called Pink Mothballs. I was a solo founder then, but I had investors and I had people who were sort of part of my team, and that was great. And that was my first experience of entrepreneurship, was being a solo founder. But fuck me, it was lonely, man. Like, it was lonely. I ended up getting my fingers burnt by taking a chunk of money off of a VC too soon and given away ownership of my business, and then it all came crashing down, and I had a lawsuit over my head, and I had to deal with all of that at the age of 26, 27. I mean, if I had a co-founder at that point, like, that would have been great, just to have someone to help me, like, to navigate through that mess with someone. Like, I just had, my friends who didn't really understand, my mum who was scared shitless because she thought her house was going to be taken away because I was in so much debt with the company and it was registered to her house, and yeah, it was just a fucking mess. And
but even not even a co-founder, even anyone who understands business, any fellow entrepreneur who could also warn you that actually VC funding is not the be all and end all. And I think that so many people just think, oh my God, I need to get a backer, I need to get funding. And, and they don't realize how much equity they give away. And actually they give away control in that as well. And that's what they don't understand.
And that's the thing, I think, why do you become an entrepreneur? And you have to go back to that. Like, yes, money is great. I mean, when I got that investment, there's a few things that I thought, oh my gosh, someone believes in me, believes in my idea. Like, they care about it as much as I do, and they want to see this succeed. Sometimes that can be true. A lot of the time it's not. Everyone has their own agenda, and a lot of the time that agenda is to do with themselves and putting money in their pocket, not making your dream become a reality and you fulfilling it. Honestly, like, check your investors, do your fucking research, meet people, have conversations, more than one, gut feels, go with the gut feels. I didn't go with my gut feel. I was desperate. I took the money. I gave away too much equity. I lost my company. It broke my heart. It broke my life. I went into a massive identity crisis. I was a mad ... Who the fuck am I, after pouring 4 years of my life and every single penny I had into this business, which was about 20 odd grand of savings. I was back at my mum's, and very lucky to have my mum there and be able to live with her and go back into my room that I grew up in, where I came up with the fucking idea. But it was a really hard and heavy and sad time and lonely. And then when I had started my second business, which was an agency here in London, and that's where I was one of 4 co-founders. That was different. I mean, I was buzzing. I was excited because I having co-founders, having people to be in this journey with you, but it wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair journey, and it wasn't fair from the get-go. I feel like I am the kind of person that if I have an idea, actually very similar to you, like, if I have an idea, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to give it my absolute all, especially if I care about it and I want it to exist in the world. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm a fucking hustler. I'm going to make it happen, and I will work like my absolute arse off to do it if I really want it to exist. I feel like in that energy and my tendency to show up and make shit happen has been abused by people in the past, and I've let that happen. So that's definitely on me. But it's on them too, because they're the ones, who but it's two-way thing. But and yeah, the beginning of that relationship was I only had 7.5% of that company, and 7.5% of that company.
Between 4 of you?
No, two of them had the majority share because their other company bankrolled it, but they had the name. Brought me and another one of the members of the team into a meeting, was just like, do you want to be co-founder? And just basically was like,
yeah,
we're giving you an opportunity to do this. It was that whole shebang. This is a great opportunity for you. If you hit X amount of profit, I think it was like first year, like hit 100 grand or 150 grand revenue in the first year, and then we'll give you more shares. Basically, we smashed that. I brought in a massive client, £250,000 client, £250,000 client. That was also a company that I met when I was at a previous company before then, and I'd just been, nurturing them for all those years, and then all of a sudden they were ready to buy. And at that point, I had a company, I had an agency, and then there we were. Anyway, COVID hit. Fast forward a little bit. Like I just felt like my co-founders were men. 2 of them white middle-aged men. Another guy who this was his first business. I'd obviously been in a business before. I did feel there was times where I really didn't feel seen. There were times where I really didn't feel heard. There was times where I didn't feel respected at all by these people. And yeah, I felt emotionally abused, and I felt like they took the piss out of my talent and out of my energy. And I mean, I got that company off the ground and brought money into it, and I was burnt out by the end of it all. COVID hit, had to make my team redundant, and I was on a Zoom call crying my eyes out, literally just like, this is an absolute mess. Clients have stopped spending. Now got no money coming in, can't pay my team. I'm very emotional on a Zoom call, and one of my co-founders says, Amanda, now isn't the time to get emotional. I saw red. That was all that I needed to hear to be like, do you know what, fuck this, I'm out. And I literally closed the laptop, and I just was shaking so much. I cried, I sobbed, had bogeys coming out my, like, literally, honestly, like, bogeys just everywhere. It was sexy. I mean, Ryan was like, babe, what's happened? Like, someone's literally died. Honestly, like, someone had literally died. He's like hugging me, and I'm just like, you know, there's that crying when it's just like, you cannot breathe. That's how it felt. Like, it was just madness. Like, oh my gosh, it was intense.
That's the builder. All that disrespect and that, like, consistently coming to the table with ideas, bringing you aware, making you aware, and them not appreciating it.
Yeah.
It's like years of builder.
Yeah.
To have this moment. It sounds like, you know, one little moment that I think people think, oh, you're just being emotional. And like, oh, you just snapped at that moment. How, like, you know, fragile are you? But actually, that's the years of build-up. You just took that, like you said, emotional abuse and disrespect in the business scene, and people don't get what that's like.
Yeah.
And of course you're gonna feel like that. Of course you're gonna end up, you know, feeling that way. Yeah. And do you know what? It happens all too often, sadly. And I speak to so many women who. And obviously this does happen to men, but don't get me wrong, like, it happens more prevalently to women from what I've seen, like, and how they are respected. Now you've been through all that, what advice would you give to other women who maybe are out there listening or watching this podcast thinking, oh my God, like, this is how I feel like I'm treated by my co-workers or co-founders or anyone else? Like, how would you recommend they deal with that?
Call them out. If you're feeling like you're being, like, someone's taking the piss, or someone's talking over you, or someone's like, you know, you presented something, you've done all this work, and they're dismissing it, and talking, like saying, oh, actually, no, that idea, actually, what about that? Like, you can tell by tone. I think it's a lot of it is, if you're really feeling like there's like that, it's like a competing, or they're just not supporting you with the emotional support that you need. Like, how's it going? Like, just checking in. How are you feeling? Like, is there anything that I can do to support you or help you? Like, like, I mean, co-founders, leadership, whatever it is. Like, it's team, right?
It's feeling it together.
That word team. If at any point you don't feel like you're in a team, there's a problem. Big problem. You can't move a business or a dream forward without a team. Like, literally, you cannot. If I was to go back to that Amanda, I would have said something earlier. I let it build up to a point where I completely exploded, and it happened the way it was meant to happen. But I still haven't had these conversations with my ex-co-founders. I've never spoken to them and said, do you know how you made me feel? Do you know what you did? Yeah, it's
hard.
Really hard.
And that's why it took you so long. Like, I mean, people listen to this when you said call them out, and you said that so confidently and so, like, sure that was the right decision. But at the time you couldn't do that. And I'm sure lots of people thinking there, but I really wish I could. I really want to, but they can't.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
It's hard. So it's like, the problem is, I think that, like you said, you blew up because even though it's the right thing to do, you didn't do it. And because it is difficult, but somehow you have to get to that point. Otherwise, it's just going to continue going on and going to get worse, right?
Yeah, it's going to get worse. And, you know, the only person you're hurting yourself is yourself.
Yeah.
The only person you're hurting, I mean, is yourself, you know, like, that's the only person, like, and, yeah, it's like a, you know, if you're dating someone, it's like you're literally in an abusive relationship, but on an emotional level. Like, it does happen in business. It happens all the time. And I do think the more we talk about it, and I haven't really spoken about this very much, especially not publicly. I don't speak about this publicly. One, because I'm still, you know, connected to my ex-co-founders, you know, and I'm a big believer in don't burn bridges.
Of course.
You know, like we've all done stupid shit. I've done like lots of stupid shit in business and in just in personal life and just in life. It doesn't matter, like business, life, whatever. It's just we're humans. We're all going to do stupid shit. We're all going to learn from that stupid shit. Hopefully, some of us won't. And yeah, it is what it is. I also believe that sometimes we have to go through different versions of ourselves to get to a version of ourselves who is obviously stronger, wiser, braver, all of that kind of stuff. And I believe that I had to go through all of that. And then I started another company with one of my co-founders and grew that. And it got to a year. And then I was like, do you know what? This isn't working for me. It was like, I just woke up one day and I was like, this isn't working for me. It's not feeling good for me anymore. Okay, why? Well, actually, when I dug a little bit deeper and said to him, let's do a founder day, like get together, strategy day. And I came with all this preparation, all these questions. I completely like designed the whole workshop that we were going to do. I was like, I got this. And I literally went, I was like, right, I just want to understand. This is all about getting on the same page of where we want to go with this business. Like what we're feeling, what we're enjoying, what's bringing us joy, and what problems are we seeing, hearing, feeling, and how can we address those, and also where we want to go with this business. What's the vision that we both have? What's our shared vision? What's our shared values? What's our shared experiences? What's our shared beliefs? Literally, I came out of the whole session, one feeling exhausted because the whole time I was the person asking the questions. I never got asked a question once. That was a massive alarm for me.
Did not care.
Literally, I was just like, whoa. I'm in a 50-50 business relationship with someone. Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And even previously, no, I'm not. It was like it was toxic, because that was one of the, it just followed me. And so I had to get out. It was the guy was a nice guy, nice enough guy, but it just didn't feel fair. Again, this word fair, it didn't feel fair. A business relationship has to feel fair. If it doesn't, if someone's doing more, like if you've got a 50-50 split in equity, you both need to be doing 50-50. Like sometimes it's not going to be possible because sometimes you're going to feel like a 20, like I'm going to bring 20% of my energy and time and stuff today. And actually, but that's okay. You communicate that, right? But I'm just meaning in terms of like the whole of the experience of being a founder and entrepreneur, you've got to bring it, the work, you've got to bring it in an equal measures. Otherwise, it's just going to feel one-sided, lopsided, and it's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart because you're not aligned.
Yeah,
you're not aligned.
Overall, it'd be, I feel like this is a common thing with co-founders, that there's usually obviously different personalities. So usually one is a go-getter out there doing all this stuff.
Me.
And exactly. And then there's others who don't, but they can bring things in other ways. And that's the thing. You could have complementary personalities and skills, and they can be doing something else. For example, that's why I'm a solo founder. Because obviously, like I said, I'm all in it all the time. All the energy is out there. But I'd love to have a co-founder, even if they weren't doing that obvious stuff, but they were doing operational stuff, and they were like maybe doing the finances and managing and making stuff, keep afloat behind closed doors, and the things that I'm not necessarily good at.
Yeah,
I think there are those complementary things, and unfortunately, it seemed like they weren't the right people for you. But as you said, all those things happen for a reason, and they brought you to where you are today, person you are today. And now you are showing up as Amanda, founder of 5 Stories, bringing your methodology to the world and inspiring other leaders to also do this. And so I want to talk more about that today. Because they were like, you are a storyteller and you want to help other people tell stories. But I want to talk about, I guess, the state of storytelling at the moment. I feel like it's becoming a bit of a buzzword, maybe. Like people are talking about storytelling for the first time. Talking about personal branding. Like this is a thing on everyone's mind now. And I was like, I've got to tell my story. I've got to build a personal brand. So I want to talk to you now. What does that look like to you? Do you think it's important people to tell their stories? And how different is that from actually having a personal brand?
Ooh, big question. Thank you for asking it. I've been thinking about this a lot. It's absolutely vital that we tell our stories. It's not just important. I think it's a matter of making sure that we are all able to show up as our most authentic selves. Like, even that word authentic, I don't know, I hesitate when I say it, because that word authentic, I know,
and it's been ruined. It's been so ruined. It's like the people are trying to be authentic so much that it's so fake. I have to now call myself authentically authentic. I'm like, I'm an authentically authentic. I mean, it's like it's fake authentic now. It's the word has lost all meaning.
I mean, I feel like we're just over. I feel like what's all these fucking buzzwords? It's just like, it's driving me crazy. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
That's why I have my bullshit buzzword series.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. We are having this conversation earlier. It's about being real, right? That's it. It's just not beat around the bush. It's like about being real. But I don't think that you can't be authentic until you know your story. That's the truth. You cannot be authentic until you know your story, until you're connected to your story. If you show up without being connected to your story, then who are you showing up as? Like, you're probably repurposing content that you've already shared, or you've been influenced by someone else's post or content, and then you're like, oh, I need to do that too, because that's the thing. That's the thing. Oh, I need to positionalize. I need to do a fucking carousel. I need to do a reel with this bloody track. Like, whatever it is, it's just all, stop it. Just stop. Just focus on you. Focus on who you are, what stories make you who you are, and show up as you fucking are. Like, it's not hard.
But it is hard.
Yeah.
The way that society has completely infiltrated our brain, that they're seeing all this stuff, all those things that you just said. Like, people are looking at other people, determining that they are successful, and also all the people who are selling courses, templates, all this sort of stuff. So it is just regurgitated crap. So people see this and they're blinded by vanity metrics. So they're seeing, oh, well, this type of post went viral or got X amount of likes and comments. Therefore, that must be what I should be doing. And therefore, it then is hard. Like you're saying, it's not hard to share to it. You're right. It shouldn't be hard to just be yourself. That's the easiest person. But we're seeing all this other stuff, and then people are like, okay, well, am I not good enough myself?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the difference between personal branding and storytelling is, right? But I think that I want you to dive more into the story thing. We're going to come back to personal branding because I do think there was an issue with personal branding. I think
me too.
Big problem with it. But I want to go back to the story first so people understand, because I don't think you can do any form of personal branding until you really truly know who you are. And I think the people who are following that sort of stuff, because they don't truly know who they are, they don't know how they should be showing up because they don't know what that is. They've probably got some more sense. And I think that when people hear story, they think, I don't have a story. They think they need like some kind of, origin story is one of your step fillers, but I mean, they think they need an origin story like a superhero origin, right? You know, they think they need like some kind of backstory, some sob story. They need to have had, they've lost the key person in their life, and that's what it bangs back. People think that's what they mean by a story. So I wonder here that you're saying everyone should have a story, everyone should be able to tell their story. How do regular folk who feel like they don't have anything to say, people go, oh, little old me, I'm not interesting. Time. Do people find what the story is and how do they tell it?
Incredible question, and thank you again for asking it. I think one thing I want to say is that everyone, if you're a human being and you're breathing, you have a story. You do have a story. You were born. Oh, what was the date you were born at? Where were you born? Who was your mum's name? Dad's name? Siblings? Like, I mean, even just going back to the basics. This is what I meant earlier by it's not actually that hard to show up and tell your story, but it's about knowing what parts of your story. That's the hard bit, because our stories are so big. Our stories are massive. And I think that's what makes us scared, because they're so big and everyone's showing up online. And you're right, like everyone's banging on about stuff. And it's just like, it's so fucking noisy. Personal branding is so noisy because it's like, look at me, buy from me, look at me, buy from me, hello. Like, it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, can we just calm down and maybe just take a bit of a pause and just reconnect with ourselves by connecting to our story? And that's the work that I do and that I do with people. It's taking a step back from all the social media. And I do actually say to my clients now, I would encourage you, they don't have to, you know, it's their choice. I would encourage you to come off social media for a bit why we do this working on this program, because I don't want you to get distracted and start getting confused about what your story is because you're comparing yourself to someone. If you start comparing yourself to someone, you start feeling like you're not good enough. You start feeling like your story isn't good enough. No, your story is good enough. Your story is the most important thing and the most powerful thing that you own, because it's the only story that you can fucking tell. Like that's the power of it. But you're right. People don't know. I don't think it's some people might feel that they don't have a story. I'm here to tell you, you do. Every single person, every single human being has a story. That, as human beings, is something that we all share. It's an incredible, incredible gift that we all have. If you're born and you're living, you're breathing, you've got a heartbeat and you walk in this planet, or you're moving in this along this planet in some way, shape or form, and you're existing here, you have a story to tell. So the work that I do, 5 stories, it's a methodology that ultimately gives you a map back to your story, a map back to your meaning. And I'm working with people of all different walks of life, at all different points in their life, where they're just like, do you know what, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling really disconnected to myself because something's happened that's changed in my life, because I feel like I'm burnt out from doing all this content creation on social media, and I don't even know who I am anymore. I have so much to say and I don't even know what to fucking say. I hear that a lot. I also hear a lot of my story feels so big and I just don't know where to start. A lot of it is just knowing where to start with it. And yes, origin is the first story that I'll help my clients connect with, because the origin story is taking it back to your roots, taking it back to, okay, well, what is the journey? Like, where did you begin, and what's the journey that you've been on so far up to this point? What are the moments that changed you? What are the moments that inspired you? Who inspired you? Like, just trying to understand, like, how have you become this version of yourself, and why you believe what you believe, why you care about what you care about, and why you do what you do. I work with creative entrepreneurs who are impact driven, and every single one that comes to me, they either have a business idea, or they're they have a company, they maybe have a book in the making, or they've already got a couple of books out, TED speakers, who are coming to me, who are really wanting to own their story more, really wanting to stand in their story more and stand for something. And they go through my method with me to get clearer, to get more concise with how they show up with their words, because they want to have those moments of hand slamming on the table. They want to have their moments of like fist up to the sky, like, follow me, this is what we stand for, this is the movement, this is the change that I want to fight for. You with me, come with me, you know. Origin is the first story in the 5 stories.
I feel like I want to interrupt you and not tell you to tell the 5 stories, because I want people to watch your TED Talk.
Oh yes, watch the 10. Oh mate,
I'm like, don't ruin it. Like, come on, like, stop. Like, they get a taster.
Yes, go watch the 10. Where must we go watch the 10?
Exactly. I was like, no, don't tell the rest of it. Just go watch your amazing TED Talk on this.
Discover the 5 stories. Hi. Oh, thank you. You always help me with. No, I'm glad you interrupted that, because I was about to go in on like just revealing the goods. But yeah, I need to get better at my little hooks and shit. I'm not good at that.
I think that's it though. We're never good enough at our own sort of PR and stuff like that. And I guess that's because we're trying to help other people. And that nicely leads on to personal branding.
Yeah.
Because I think that personal branding is a big buzzword at the moment. A big term, it's 2 words, but and everyone has a different version of what it means. Now, I get told all the time I have an amazing personal brand. I was like, I don't even have a personal brand. I just show up as me. I'm just me. And I think it's because there's so much. I'm getting the ick thinking about, like, you know, all that stuff online right now. And I want to hear your thoughts currently on personal branding, because I think I've ranted enough about it and it's unhealthy. So
yeah. Thanks. Pass the baton. Personal branding. Let's bash it. I'm kidding. Yeah, I think personal branding for me. I mean, I'm over it.
That's it. It's like, you can't even bother to talk about it. I'm done. Just move on, please.
I'm exhausted, mate. Like, honestly, I'm just so tired of this personal branding bullshit. This personal branding hype. I'm just like, stop telling people to build their personal brands. Let's just, why are we doing that? Like, why are we talking about branding people? Like, people are constantly changing and evolving. I'm a different person now, right now, in this moment, having this conversation with you about personal branding than I was when I walked through that door to do this podcast. So brands are the whole point of building a brand. And I know this because I spent very many years, a decade of my life, building fucking brands for lots of big, world-changing businesses. And building a brand is about a promise that stays consistent. Consistency, showing up, standing for something, yes, which is important, but being consistent with that. Humans are not consistent. Like, I mean,
Most unpredictable mofos in the world.
and why should we be? Like, we're not. We're not static. We're not statues. Brands are. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why are we all falling for this hype and hustling to be seen as these perfect performing statues online? Who the fuck are we connecting with? Do you know what really drives me crazy? You know, and I'm not on LinkedIn or social media at the moment because I'm being present in my story and reconnecting with it. I'm doing the work because I believe in it. That, like, I do it pretty much every time I go through a massive change, and I've just become a mum. So,
Yeah.
you know, good timing. It pisses me off when I see people commenting on my posts, and it's just like, really, oh yeah, really, and they just like,
It's because it's not even a human writing that now. It's AI. That's the thing. It's all automated. I see them turn up in my posts every day, and I'm like, you clearly didn't write this. You didn't even read it. It's automated, or they're doing it as a perfunctory thing because they just want to beat the algorithm. And it's no longer about humans. It's about beating the algorithm because all they care about this is vanity metrics. It's twisted.
I'm sad for us, Sabrina.
It's really quite sad. It is actually quite sad.
I'm sad for us. Like, what have we become online?
Well, you just mentioned being present, right? And people are recommending all these perfect posts go viral because they recommend the algorithm to, like, it has to be the algorithm. So they will say that we need to post 200 times. So I thought, okay, let me just think about it. 200 comments a day. Even if I took like a minute to read the post, which obviously I'm undershooting it, and then you take like a minute to think about what you're doing, and then another minute to actually craft the post. Obviously, I want to spend more than a minute on doing those. And it's about craft a comment. That's 3 minutes per comment. That's 200 comments. That's 600 minutes. Was 10 hours. Do the maths. Math ain't, right? That's what you're saying.
No. I'm shit at maths. I'm lost.
But the math ain't.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Just like, if these people are self-proclaiming that they're supposed to spend 6 hours a day on LinkedIn, and well, that's 10 hours, the math ain't. But what are you doing with your life, honestly? And they're saying they've got all these clients, and they're soaking in money, and they're up. You know, I'm like, what on earth? This is bullshit. Because it's like, you cannot have clients and spend 6 hours a day on LinkedIn. Like, I don't have the time for that because I'm working with my clients. You just said I went dark because I've got all these new clients coming up now, and you're really excited, you're on this part, and you're being present, you're doing all these things. That's not someone who spends all day on saying that. So it just is bullshit, but it's easy and nice to believe, and people are saving these posts and sharing them because they're thinking, oh, this is a great way to be. And that's how the personal branding hype gets pulled up. And I'm kind of hoping it dies down this year. I kind of am. I don't know what you feel. But
I think for our health, it needs to die down. I think we're in a crisis of connection. I think we're in a crisis of meaning. I think we're in a crisis of creativity. I think I'm actually really sad for us. I'm sad if this is how it can't continue like this, because I'm sad for the next generation of humans, my daughter included, you know, who's only 4 months old now. And more than anything, and the thing that makes me so sad, we don't know how to be ourselves anymore. We don't know how to be ourselves online. We don't know how to be ourselves offline. That is the sad truth of where we are as culture. That is where we are in society. That is where we are as a species. We don't know who we are anymore. We're so lost. We're so confused. We're so disconnected because of the algorithm, because of the digital world, because of all these demands and pulls and distractions. Like, every time I go on the train, I literally purposely don't go on my phone because I just like to look around at how many people are on their phones. I sat behind someone on the train. This was before my baby girl came last year. And the little gap between, and it was just me and this other person. And they were on their phone, and I was just like, oh, let me just see like how long this is. My journey from Waterloo to Wokingham is 1 hour and 20 minutes. This person was on their phone for that whole time, and I was watching their activity. ASOS, TikTok, ASOS, scroll, TikTok, back to ASOS, oh, Twitter, oh, oh, like literally back to the forward, scroll. I was so fucking exhausted. I was like,
just watching it.
Watching it. And do you know what I was it's going in one of my book. Literally, I had to write down like every action I do. No, I did, just to see how long it was, mate. Honestly, I was literally just like,
I think people do it as a tick. It's like a default kind of response now. It's like they don't even realise they're doing it. Like I even started to do it. I tap my phone, just to see and I'm like, oh my God, I had to turn off notifications. Because I see people doing it and they're just scrolling and I don't think they're even looking at it. I don't think they're actually processing the information that's even there.
It's just the way this person was in one app, closed it, in another one, scroll, watching a couple of videos from people dancing, looking at their dress. Oh, let's go to ASOS, let's see if that dress is there. Oh yeah, no, it's not, let's go back. Oh yeah, oh no, there's another one. Oh, let's go back there. Oh, actually, let's go on WhatsApp. Oh, let's just send this message and finish this message to my mum. Oh, let's go back on ASOS. Oh, let's go back on TikTok. I was like, I can't. It's giving me a headache. Mate, that's what we're living in. That's the reality of where we are as humans.
How do we...
That is where we are. It's fucked.
There's no real connection at all. And that's what we've been talking about, real connections, right? It's just that if we are looking at that, and also 90% of that content you're probably consuming is fake.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not real. And how damaging is this to our brains? Like, it's just unbelievable. And I just think that I wish that other people would see this, because everyone's just sort of like, I have to be on my phones, I have to do this. And most people say, I need my phone, it's compulsory. Until they actually don't have to have their phone, or the battery dies and nothing bad happens to them. It's like, do you know what I mean?
I'll never when my battery dies. Die!
But I do that, even I'm like, I have to be on my emails, I have to reply to this really, really quickly. And I started to slowly weed my way off things, take myself off social media, take myself off email. And I'm like, no one died. Like, nothing bad happened. So actually, I could do this more. And you started to realise, and actually, you just enjoy life way more and be present. And oh my God,
a great word. Be present. Be present. Really hard. And I guess the same the story. Like it sounds like being who you, like just be yourself. It sounds so easy, and it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be difficult to do that. To just show up as you are and share your story. The truth is it is hard because we don't have a map. We don't have a blueprint. We don't have something to guide us. We don't have people who are there to help us get back to who we truly are before we start showing up again, so we can show up as the truest version of ourselves. I'm going to stop using that other A word. But just I'm bored of it. And that's what I'm trying to create here, Sabrina. I'm trying to create that map. I have created that map. 5 Stories is the map back to who you are. It is the map back to your meaning. And I'm just getting started, and I'm excited because I finally feel like people are listening. Finally, like, gosh, I think I was saying to you before we got on this podcast, like, I have nearly walked away from this so many times because I'm just like, I'm sharing all this stuff. I'm talking about, belonging starts with the story that we tell, starts with telling our story. Why does no one hear me? Why is no one listening? Before, last year was like the worst year I've ever had in business. I've had 4 businesses. Revenue-wise, I built 20 grand. Maybe not even that. I haven't been to my account yet, but I literally had no savings, had debt. Then my baby came along, and I felt like I didn't deserve to be a mother because I didn't feel successful or where I wanted to be before I became a mother.
Why is your success dependent on how much money you earn?
Oh yeah, no it is. And that is because of what I'm seeing. Exactly. It's all a fuck.
Nothing to do with that, but you're an absolutely incredible mom.
I know I am. I am.
You deserve every bit of that. And you are successful, but you've just accidentally, unknowingly, subconsciously, because of society's done to us, you tied your success to the level of wealth, not even wealth, just monetary income that you received that year, and thought that made you not successful. But you're forgetting about everything else that you've got in your life and everything else that you've done. Just because you had one bad year does not make you not successful. And that is society's fault. And that is what we absorb. All that bullshit content on social media is what is telling us. And that's a problem. And that's an issue.
And that's why I'm going to share my stuff on in real conversations like this with you on No Bullshit Talks, because we need less bullshit. We need more meaning. We need more emotion. We need more truth. That is the truth.
I believe that. And I believe that. And I hope that that is the direction of what people want to do this year. And that's why I want to get people's predictions there. Like, so for the next 12 months in the world of entrepreneurship, what do you see the predictions looking like? What do you see that the nature of entrepreneurship is looking like this year?
I think we need to slow the fuck down. I honestly do. Every person, I've got a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs and I adore them. You are one of those friends. Everyone I speak to has it busy. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, can we just stop being busy for a bit? Can we just stop being busy for a bit and take a bit of a step back and just be here, feel here. Like, do we ever feel? I don't think we'll feel here enough. You're saying to me, like, look at what I've achieved. Look at what you've achieved. There's so many times where I hear you and you're like, you're going to be on a billboard and all this kind of stuff. You did TED, you're so incredible. You've achieved so much. But why don't we big ourselves up enough? Why don't we do that? I've gone off on one a little bit, but I think the future of entrepreneurship needs to be slower, scale slow, intentional, more intention, more meaning. I think we're going to be building a lot more with our stories as the foundation. I think we're going to be building a lot more and starting businesses that are based on a foundation of our beliefs, our values, and our experiences. And we're going to grow businesses that are more intentional, more meaningful, and that are for our audience and the people. That is to create communities that are ultimately going to bring people together, foster more belonging, and help us all truly connect, because we really we're dying for it. We literally are dying for it.
Well, I feel like you've just described knobs in the community.
There we go. You're welcome.
That was my vision too. So I do hope that the future of entrepreneurship is like that, because that's exactly my vision for knobs and what I want to create, that sort of community.
Exactly. I actually think intentional collaboration, collaborate with people who align with your values and your beliefs and your experiences and your stories. That's what it's about. It's lonely up in here.
Intentional. I love it.
Intention. Let's do it.
I love it.
Yes, babe. Yes.
Just want to say thank you so much for coming on today's podcast. It's been amazing having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it so much.
I want to ask quickly, I'm going to try to ask everyone, what do you think your biggest tools are for success as an entrepreneur?
Oh, community.
Wow.
Community. People who you can... Community, people who you can trust, people who will hold a brave space for you to share how it's going and how you're feeling and what you need.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, man. It's been amazing and a pleasure having you.
Thank you. I've loved it. Thank you so much.